I wish I could get rid of that glare, but I can't. So let's look at these two. Here we have a triangular pyramid. Triangular. And I have these triangular upside down intentionally because it makes it easier to see the base. But here you see the triangle base, right? And the pyramid will have a base. And then it will, from its vertices, lines will come down to a single point, which makes it a pyramid. Here we have a square one, and this is what you're going to be required to understand this. Here we have is the square and triangular pyramids. And here we have a square base, and I flipped it upside down on purpose. And then you can see it comes down to this point. And one of the things I want to point out is when you're looking at these pyramids, one of the important elements is its height. So first of all, we know that we want to find big B. We want to find the area of the base. And so here, this one's different than this one because this is a triangular base. This is a square base, or it could be a rectangular base too, which makes me pause for a moment and think. So we're going to call it a square or a rectangular. There's probably a more precise name, but I don't know what it is at the moment. Either way, we do know how to find the area of whether it's a square or a rectangular base. All right, so we know that it's big B times its height, and I was talking about height. And here you can see how this green dotted line, you see how I've tried to make a point, and for some of us it's easier to see, for some of us we have to train our eye to see it. But when you look at a depiction of a pyramid, you will often see this line that looks like it's in the middle, oftentimes it's red, and usually they try to put a point. Sometimes they'll even put like this there, which implies that it's 90 degrees or perfectly perpendicular to the base, but this is its height. Here's its height again. You can see it like this. It's in your book, and usually it's red in your book. And it looks like it stops in the middle of nowhere, but it's really stopping at a point on the base that is perfectly perpendicular to the base. It goes straight to the top here, to the vertex of its top of your pyramid. All right, so what's the formula? It's the area of the base. These are two different areas, formulas. Times its height. Here's our height, so that's our height. There's our height. Times 1/3. That gives you the area, the volume of a pyramid. Now, this one's obviously, like, again, I'm going to repeat myself. This big B, here we have 1/3. That big B is different because it's going to be, I'm going to length times width, then times height, right? Because it's this length times width gives us that area. We want the area first. This one is 1/3, but its big B is what? 1/2 times base, little b, times height, times h. So we got to get the area of this base, that's that, then times height, then times a third. Where does that third come from? Well, where does that come from? Well, let's turn here. Let's see if I can make this work. I can make this work. So where does that third come from? So let me get out my trash can. Okay, let's see, how does that look? I think that'll work. So here is a pyramid, right? And I have it upside down, and I filled it with rice. I filled it up with rice. And then here is, if I didn't multiply by a third, right, I just did big B times H, I would find the volume of this rectangular prism. See that? I think it's actually a cube. And here is the pyramid, but when I multiply by a third, I'm trying to calculate for this pyramid. See how this pyramid very nicely fits inside my cube? So these are related because they have the same base, right, and the same height. Now watch. Why is it multiplied by a third? Well, I'm going to use this rice to represent the volume as my unit of volume. And I'm going to pour it into here. And what I've done is I've roughly partitioned my cube into thirds. You see that? 1, 2, 3. whoops, big B on screen. And guess, look at that. Do you see how my rice is roughly taking up 1/3 of the cube? The amount of rice in this pyramid filled up 1/3 of the cube. That is where this formula comes from. That's why we multiply by a third. If we didn't, we would be finding the volume for the rectangular prism. Okay? So 1/3 of it gives us literally 1/3 of it. So that leads us back to here. Here we are, volume of a pyramid. So let's work these out. These are found on page 656. 656. And it's the same old thing. Formula, put in your values, solve it. All right? So page 656 looks like this. We have a pyramid that looks like this. Okay, number one. Double check all my facts. Yes. And we want, so first of all, what's our formula? 1/3 times big B times height. All right, so let's 1/3 times big B. Well, what's big B? Big B is my base. So see my base right here? It's right here at the bottom. And so big B is, what is that? 23 times 14. That's going to give us the area of that. That's big B. Now what's our height? Well, it's not here, is it? But on your text, you can see it. It looks like this. It's like a red line. And it kind of lands right here in the middle. And then you have this little symbol, which means it's 90 degrees. It's going perfectly, it's perfectly perpendicular to the base. It goes right to this vertex, which means that's the height. These are the hints that it's height. It's a line in the middle. It looks like it's floating inside. And that tells you it's 90 degrees off of its base. That's how you would measure the height. So the final measurement there is, what is that? It says it is 25 yards. Now this is important because later, sometimes they're going to give you the length of this lateral side. We don't want that length. We want the height. We want the physical height. So I would plug that in here. And there you have it. If I didn't have the third, I would find the volume of a rectangular prism. But with that third, just like in the previous demo I showed you, that gives us exactly what we want. And if you crunch those numbers, you get this beast, 2,683.3 yards cubed. Important that you have your units. Remember, I'm rounding to the tenths. All right, let's look at this one. Here's another rectangular prism, square. Yeah, I can see the length and the width aren't the same. So first step is what? We want to find the area of that base, right? So it's 1/3. The area of that base is big B, so that's 1.8 times 2.2 times what? Times its height. Well, what is its height? What does it say? All right, what's its height? It says it is 2.9. So that would be the last ingredient. There's my formula, plugged in my values, and that would give me what? Blah, 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 blah. 3.8 centimeters cubed. All right? Pretty simple. Pyramids are 1/3 of its rectangular brother. Find the area of the big base times the height. Now there is a slightly different problem you're going to encounter, and you might see this. This is usually a question that's asked to try to measure a deeper understanding, and it's using algebra. And I think, is it number 3? Look at number 3. Look what it says, and I think it helps to always sketch the problem. If you look at number 3, it says, find the pyramid. We start over. Square pyramid. It tells you the volume. It says for number 3, it already gives you the volume, which is what? 1,240 centimeters cubed. And then it gives you the base. Yep, that must be the big B. They give you big B, which is 16 centimeters. And look what it asks you. Find the height. Find the height. All right. Well, again, work with your formula. 1/3 times big B times H. And I really find it helpful to draw pictures. So I'm going to draw a picture. Here it is. I make a point, and I just connect it to my vertices. See that? It's not too pretty, but it works. There it is. And then I just fill in, because I want to understand it, so that I know that this right here is what? 16 centimeters. 16 centimeters squared. So I already have big B. So let's write in our formula. So I know I have 1/3 times 16. Do I know the height? No, in fact that's the instructions, find the height. So this is my unknown, see that? And then, I'm missing something. Now if you stop there, you're like, well, how do I solve that? Well, what does this formula equal? V. Do we know what the volume is? That's right here. 1,024. And this becomes a problem that we can solve using our algebra skills. All right. So what's 1/3 of that? Well, let's just put a 1 there. So now I have 16h over 3 equals 1,240. No, 1,024. All right, how do I solve that? Well, if I'm multiplying by 16/3, then I would use the reciprocal. See this? And that's going to cancel these out. And then when I do that work, which doesn't look right to me, I'm supposed to get 12. Now, units cubed. Now I feel like there's a problem there. So let's back up some here. Find the height of the pyramid. Square pyramid, here's the volume, the base. Ooh, you see my mistake? They said the base edge. Edge. Doggone it. And it's a square, therefore, this side's 16 and that side's 16. Right? That means I don't know the area yet. I don't know big B. Big B is actually 16 times 16. Well, that was a goof up. And that's okay. Let's do it again. 1/3 times big B, the area of this is 16 times 16 times the height, which is unknown, equals the volume. Now, did you guys see how easy that was to mess up? This is where being really precise with how you read it is important. Because look at this. Oh, this gives you all the answers. Can you see that? No, you can't see that. But in your book, the instructions are find the height. So here's my height. I put in my values for my formula, and because I have V, I can put that value there. And then my mistake is the base of the edge was 16. So this was 16, not the area. But see, from here, you work out this problem, and you decide you find H. And I know that the answer is 12 centimeters, and it's not even cubed, it's just linear, because what we're trying to find is that height right there. So, you do the work, you find it, you know that the answer is 12 centimeters. Let's try number 4, and this time I'm going to be even more precise in this last 90 seconds. A triangular prism, nice, good, I like, has a volume of 48 inches cubed. The base edge, see that? This time I'm not going to mess it up. The base edge is 9. So it looks something like this. I'll run out of time, Mr. Toth. Now we're going to assume it is a right triangle, or we're going to run into some problems. So here's our base edge, those are 9. Why is it tilted? I don't know. Now let's set it up. Start with your formula. Right? 1/3. Big B, how do we find that? Well, that's 9 times 9 divided by 2. Right? That's how I find this triangular base. Times the height, I don't know what it is. And there's my volume. You see what I did? I put in my values. 1/3. 1/3. Big B, 9 times 9 divided by 2. That's how you find the triangular base. Times H. Don't know what it is. equals V. I know what V is.